Hi, my name's Phil from Fun to Fix. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will attempt to fix an iPhone 7 that has water damage. Stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, I hope you enjoy it and consider hitting that subscribe button to see more videos like this. Let's begin. So here we have the iPhone 7. It's the red brackets product version, so it's a special version. This was given to me by a family member who said they accidentally dropped it in the toilet, but then they immediately turned it off, so that it shouldn't have any problems with it, I hope. I haven't turned it on, I haven't tried to charge it or anything. So what we're going to do first is let's try and charge it and let's see what happens and see if it takes a charge. So I'm going to use this and use the portable battery unit. So we're just going to test here as if it's actually going to be taking any voltage or currents. So let's try that. So we can see here, very slow. I would expect that to go up a bit higher. Oh, there we go. So that's probably switching to fast charge now, so that's looking good. So it's still charging, so the charging circuit and the battery circuit is good. Okay, so we don't want to charge it any more than that, so let's leave it there because we're going to get inside it and have a look see if there's any damage. So the screen just came on there, so that was interesting. So we have the iPhone 8 and it's got the infamous Apple logo loop, so that comes on like that and then it goes off, then it'll come back on again and go off. So that's very reminiscent of a hardware issue. I have tried putting it into DFU mode, which worked, and then I've tried restoring it from a laptop, which went through the restore but then just basically came back to this when it tries to boot. So this is obviously some sort of issue inside on the hardware. So what we need to do is get inside of this and have a look and see if we can fix it. Let's do that. So we start by removing the two pentalobe screws that are there. So these are like almost specific to Apple. So they're like a 5-pointed star, so you need the proper pentalobe screwdriver for that. Try just see if it lifts without any heat, but I think I probably need to put some heat on there. Yeah, pretty well stuck. So let's get some heat on that and try and loosen that off. Separation at all on that. There she comes. Yeah. Okay, it's just starting to lift now. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I've got the front end lifted, so let's put some heat down the sides and get the sides lifted. Yeah, it's nicely good on that side. Okay, so that's lovely. a little heat along the back edge. Now the screen will push into that back edge, so we just need to pull it this way a little bit and then open it like a book. So that's come up now. Pull it this way a little bit, then should twist it. There we go. And off comes the screen. Now, as you can see in here, switch it. See here we've got the front detectors under a plate here, and we've got the screen connection under a plate here, so we need to take this plate off. These are just normal Phillips screws, so let's get one of those. This one should do. Now keep these in the right order, because I think there's 3 of them one size and 1 of them a different size. So I'm going to take these out and lay them in these little squares here in the way they came out. You see that one's longer than these two here, these two are the short ones. So you put the wrong ones back into the wrong hole, you could pierce through into the logic board, so make sure you get that right. Plate off. Right, so the very first thing we want to disconnect is this battery connector here, because once we've disconnected that, then we can take off the screen without causing any damage. So let's get the battery connector off. So next thing we want to do is disconnect the battery connector, which is this one here. Okay, so let me just zoom in there for you. So the battery connector is this one here, there. So let's just gently, there's a screw, an old screw hole there, so I'm going to lever against that with the spudger, so I'm not affecting any of the components on the board. There. So once that connector's up, just raise it up a little bit, just to make sure it's out of the way and it can't connect the battery. So you see how it goes around here to the battery. Okay. Now we're safe to disconnect the main screen, so we can disconnect that, like that, and underneath, and that's that end. Now we have a plate here, so we need to, again, take the screws out and remove this plate. So again, this one, I'll put the screws in the order that come out on the little thing here. Sorry, camera was out of the way of that. Just zoom out a little bit so you can see it. So I'm looking at this plate here now, it needs to come out. So I've took the back screw out, so I'm going to take this screw out and then remove this plate. Like so. Now we can remove the last connector in here, which is this one. So screen is now completely separated. Obviously there's still some of the sticky stuff on there. So screen, we know the screen's good, so we don't need to actually do anything with that. So what I'm going to do now is, while we have a look around, I'm going to pop these screws back into the holes so I know where they come from, because I've got this habit of knocking them and losing them, so let me do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to look over it and just see if I can see any obvious signs of water damage that could be affecting it. So I'll give it a good inspection and come back on here if I find anything. So let's first remove the SIM tray. So now I'm going to remove this plate for the front facing camera. And then what we've got here, zoom in for you a little bit. Okay, so it's this here, which is a standoff screw. Yeah. So I found in my set I have this. Okay, which is the exact bit needed for the job. So that's good. So you can get away with a flat screwdriver, but this has got like flat edges and a little pin in the middle which goes in. So this should do the job. So hopefully, I've not used this before, so let's try. Yep, works nicely. So let's remove that. And now we should be able to move this plate. Like so. So now we can release the camera connection and also the flash, which is this one here. Okay. There we go. So next we're going to remove the upper connector, which is under this plate, and the antenna component here. This plate should just come off, and then we can remove that upper connector. Like so. And the antenna component is these three screws you can see. It's also one more in there, that one as well, and then this should just come off. Yeah. So next we'll remove this grounding clip, which is there and there. So it's that screw there and that screw there, and that should be able to remove the grounding clip. Again, just Phillips screws. Three screws that are securing the motherboard, or logic board should say. So one of those is this here, which is it's a standoff. Like so. And the next one is actually pretty well hidden. So you see this connector here, just behind it there's some tape. Just move that tape out of the way, you can just find another screw there, which is a normal Phillips screw. And then the third one is this down here, which again is another standoff. So you're doing the standoff tool again. Sorry, I don't know if I was recording that properly, but that's this screw down here, which I've just removed. It's a standoff. Okay, so what we need to do is, this is an earth-in connector here, so we just need to bend that out of the way for now. We then need to, this plunger is where you push into the SIM card, so we just need to push that forward so it's out of the way. And if you push the pin in, it releases the card. Then we need to disconnect this connector here, which is for the wireless. And this connector here, which is for the lightning connector for the charge circuit. It's quite a big one, that. And then lastly is this one here, which is the wireless charging coil. Okay, so that should be everything released. This is a screw that goes right through, so let's just remove that. Some out there because you're missing some of the stuff on a different part of the phone. Right, so it's just a matter of just gently prying this up now. Whether that screw I replaced is also one that went right through. Yeah, it is. That's them two. Yep, there you go. And there she goes. The logic board removed. So I'm going to replace some of these now so I can remember where they came from. So I'm just put the screws back in and then we can carry on. So I put all the screws back where they come from, so that's going to be easy for me when it comes to assembly, because I usually forget where they all came from. So this is it disassembled now. So we've got the few parts here which the screws that are associated with them, I've just put them in. The rest of the screws have gone back into the holes. But obviously here is the logic board. So this is what we're interested in now, because the screen we know is okay. I have inspected this. All I could find was just what looked like a little bit of sort of fluid in here. So I'm wondering if it's actually come in through the card slot, the SIM card slot. So I think it got a little bit of water in there, which would mean that it's gone into the SIM card slot here. So it's probably just gone inside this bit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these covers, and I've got some isopropyl alcohol, and I'm going to brush and see if I can just clean up and make sure there's no connectivity or water damage on the circuit board. I'll do that around this piece here as well, and around this piece. So I'll make sure basically the whole circuit board looks clean, and I'll do a little bit just down there as well, just make sure that looks clean. So let's do that. So first of all, let's just remove these covers here. Okay, what I think I might do now is I might just see if I can partially assemble it back in and then just see whether we get anything out of it. So let's do that. So of course, before we're going to put these back and try it in the phone, I need to cover up these circuit boards because obviously they're going to touch against the metal at the bottom here. So to do that, I've got some of this, I think it's Kapton tape, which is like thermal heat resisting tape used for circuit boards. So I'm going to need to just cut a piece to get it to fit on here, so let's do that. Okay, so that should protect it. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to now we'll install this back kind of as loosely as I can, and then we'll see if we can get anything out of the actual iPhone. So let's do that. Okay, let's see if we can attach the screen and then see if we can get anything out of it. Here it goes. So that's doing exactly the same as it did before. It's made absolutely no difference. So what we need to do is get the board out again and just see if there's anything else we can clean and try again. So I'll just pop the board back out. I'll do it off camera because you've seen that once anyway. Before I take the board out, what I'm going to do is going to see if I can peel this black tape off and see if we can see anything under there. So interesting, that led to 0 components, so I'm assuming this is some thermal sort of tape. So I can replace that with the Kapton tape. Okay, so back out again, so I'm going to go get the eye loop and I'm going to have another good look. So through that and see if I can see anything obvious, so that needs a bit more cleaning. Okay, so I had a good look. I can't see anything out of the ordinary with the eye loop, so I'm going to give it another go with the isopropyl alcohol and the brush. give it a good brush both sides and everywhere, just see if we can maybe loosen anything that's causing the short and causing it to go into the apple loop.
So I'll reapply the tape, and we'll put some tape on the other side as well because I think it was thermal tape. So hopefully these will still stick. Okay, I'll do the other side at the end before I reassemble it totally. But let's try it back in there and see if we can get it working. I think this is the last chance. If it doesn't work after this, then I think the water damage has been too much and it's no good. So let's reassemble that. Ran it through the Mac and I had to do an install 2 or 3 times, but guess what happened after about the 4th time? So let's see if we power this on now. Now don't forget we had this logo loop, so it was the apple, then it went off, then came back on and just went round in a loop. But now, boom, we got there. So we've actually it's working, which is great. So this is actually running the firmware now. What I'm thinking, and I don't know about this, is I can't get past the install. So if I go to United Kingdom, I then connect it to my Wi-Fi, which is that there. So I can choose that. Okay, well, put the password in, and what it then does, it comes back, says unable to activate. But I think to activate a phone, if you see there it says no service, you actually need a SIM card. That's what I've kind of read up on. So I'm going to get this back to the family member and get them to put the SIM card in, and then we'll see if we can activate it like that. But to be honest, I mean, to me it's working perfectly well. So you know, everything seems to be as it should be. So all we need to do is get the activation, which is being stopped by the SIM card, and then we'll have the phone fixed. So that's brilliant. So well happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to power this off, and we'll go through and fully assemble it correctly, putting everything back and get it all clipped back together, and then we'll be good to go. So let's do that. So number one, let's disconnect the battery, and then we'll get this screen back off so I can tidy up the rest of the board. So this is the battery, the second connector in there, so it's that one there. Right, get that out of the way for now. So I've got to assemble all the other parts, and I need to put some tape over this. Okay, so we'll assemble first, and we'll put the tape over here. Then if we go over the top of any of the other screws, it doesn't really matter. And then tighten down all of the screws that are already in there, and then we should be good to go. So let's replace the antenna component around here. So next is this upper cable bracket, which secures this connector on there. So now making sure the flash connector is seated in place, we're now going to secure the rear facing camera bracket, which is this one here. Then reconnect the camera back on. So what will happen on this bit here is when we connect the top cable of the screen, this plate is going to go on there. So let's get the screen. I'm going to pop on this top part. In fact, first of all, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some of that tape on these so I can get these covered. So let's do that. And that should be fine. Right, now I want to reattach the screen. So now what we're going to do is reconnect the bottom connectors of the screen. So what I'm going to do is just lay the screen over it, just make sure all still works before I screw these down. So now what we need to do is get this plate back in there, which goes like so. Okay, that's it, final last test now, and then we're going to put the screen back down, so make sure that works, the button works, that's good. So let's get the screen fitted back. Right, to fit this in, we need to push it in from the top end, because it needs to engage there. Then it should clip nicely back together, like so. We should be able to get them screws back in now. And the last piece of the puzzle is the SIM tray. That's it, all completed and back together. So one, again, final test. Let's make sure it all works. Fingerprints on, right, there we go, screen up and down. Can't go left and right, unfortunately. Can take any country, doesn't matter. Manually do that, just go over here, make sure, yeah, everything works on the keyboard, so that's it. So yeah, let's power off, and that's the end. That's it, it's all working, so we can give it back to the owner, and hopefully they'll have plenty more years out of this. There you go. So yeah, water damaged, give it a good clean with isopropyl alcohol and a good dry off, and yeah, it took a little bit of a while to get out of the Apple loop, but I just kept persevering and kept reinstalling the firmware update, and after about the third attempt then it suddenly started working. So yeah, well pleased with that.
So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Until the next time, take care.